And most important milestone in our country's history. 250 years of American independence. What a great country. And we have to keep it that way. But that's why, as a nation, we should be preparing for a most spectacular birthday party. We want to make it the best of all time. Here is my plan to give America's founding in 1776 the incredible anniversary it truly deserves. On day one, I will convene a White House task force called Salute to America 250. It will be responsible for coordinating with state and local governments to ensure not just one day of celebration, but an entire year of festivities across the nation, starting on Memorial Day 2025 and continuing through July 4th, 2026.
Iraqi bank identifies the most expensive currency that guarantees market leadership. What they're referring to, guys, this is a feel-good piece. They want you to know that they're doing everything to earn your trust, and that is the most important currency that they have, faith and trust in their system in Iraq. And boy, are they awfully happy going into this one. Since yesterday, the articles have become tons. I was looking forward to covering this last night, but we've since had more articles throughout the morning and the day today and the banking day in Iraq. The dinar recovers its health. Dollar decline in Iraq due to local measures. So dinar value climbing, U.S. dollar falling in comparison, use of U.S. dollar falling. This is the de-dollarization that they needed to stabilize the rate so that they could increase their rate, increase their purchasing power. They told us this back when they changed it to 1320. If you guys remember those conversations, the goal was to get it stabilized and then another big jump. Here's another article from this morning. The trilogy of the central bank reign in the parallel market. Historic decline of the dollar for the first time since 2022. This is a victory lap with all of the changes they have made and how it is stabilizing their currency and increasing its value. Trade deal with UK is the big announcement. Kevin, I don't know. He told us he wasn't going to tell us first. And then he came out later and said, hey, we are going to have an announcement tomorrow morning at 10 on the UK. So I think there's another announcement in there. Titleist, seems like bond people are taking a bit longer than expected. They are taking longer than I thought they would take Titleist. It's like we get spurts. We get a lot done, and then everything slows down. So I'm wondering if each spurt we're seeing, if it comes with a little bit of a cleanup attached, and then another spurt, and then another cleanup. That's my guess. Texas artists, I've also heard no 800 notifications unless you bought it from a bank. Tell me that's okay. I'm going to tell you that's not so. And even then, when we call them 800 notifications, it doesn't quite work that way. It's just what we come to call them, the numbers. There's no one single magical number that gets you everything and is directed everywhere. It's logistically just doesn't make any sense with different countries. I've been told over and over and over that you will get notices, whatever you guys want to call them, from many different directions. I had a mainstream bank that is supposed to be involved in this pointedly tell me that they were going to send their stuff to Dinar Recaps. That's why whenever somebody asks me what they should do, go sign up at Recaps for your free email newsletter. Because when the banks get the information, they plan on sending it to them. Then they'll use their email list to get it out. Now, if you bought from a bank, you probably will hear from your bank. If you bought from one of the bigger currency dealers, you'll probably hear from them. If you signed up at 3 or 4 other news aggregating sites, you'll hear 3 or 4 times. Bun and Avery, just to from the banks to say, hey, this is the number you call, make an appointment, come exchange with us. And it should be a combination of numbers and links, guys, the numbers and links so that you can go sign up. I do have some contacts from the Indian nations that are saying, and now that I reached out to a number of them, I have some nations that are hearing expectations. They have some things they needed to complete today, but that they expect to move forward within the week. I had one actually expecting to move forward today on funding of the Indian nations. Now, this is tier 3 stuff. If we get that movement, we can throw a party. But that is the first time in a while that I've heard any static out of the Indian nations, and that came in later yesterday. That gave me a little bit of a warm fuzzy. I'm still hearing positive, Pam, on the agros. Still hearing very positive. Ken, there are so many rumors over different rates for Vietnam and Iraq on the boards right now. I don't know who's posting a lot of this stuff, but they need to stop. Dan, I don't know where you're hearing that, but I am not hearing that from anybody. Not a single source on this planet other than what you just posted. Said, when did the Dinar rate become tied to humanitarian projects? I keep hearing. I don't know where you're hearing it, but I've not heard it from anywhere. Man, maybe they're true. Maybe we can get more. But haven't heard it. Wouldn't make any sense for an in-use currency to be tied to humanitarian like that. Would not make any sense to me logically. No fresh news on any specific bonds. I was told earlier this week that they are going to start processing today on historical assets. These are like art that's kind of like a bond. We've talked about those in the past. Banana, I know of some bond facilitators that have been paid, because I know a couple of them personally that have received some dollars. Not all of their dollars, though. And that's a big key there. A little sliding here, keep things going, keep things on the table, but not that massive dollar you're looking for.
I say my prayers. One of the things I ask my maker for is, please God, don't let me hate, because sometimes it's hard here in Washington. There have been many a morning when I've gotten up in my overpriced Capitol Hill apartment and I'm walking over here to the Capitol and I give myself a pep talk. I talk to myself. I say, Kennedy, today you're going to follow Jesus. And by 10 o'clock, I still want to follow Jesus, but I also want to slap the hell out of somebody.
George W. Bush left office richer than he was before his presidency. Hussein Obama left office richer than he was before his presidency. Joe Biden left office richer than he was before his presidency. Donald Trump left office poorer than he was before his first term. And unlike the previous 3 presidents, he donated his presidential salary away during his first term and continues to do so in his current term. Something to feed your brains to play with. I hope it helps.
Is that unsound money. The banks are lending you money on money that doesn't exist. They're actually earning interest on something that doesn't exist. Fractional reserve banking, really quickly, is the basis of it. Now, a bank, if for every $100, every $10 it's got in the bank, it can lend 9, because it only needs to have 10% in real currency in the bank. So it's debt. The balance sheet on debt is huge, and they like it big because they can lend. They only need 10% of the actual amount of money they are lending. So you borrow 100, they only got 10. They fabricate with a digital touch of the keyboard this other fictitious money, which you are now paying interest on. So they're earning interest on something that doesn't exist. It's called fractional reserve banking. Now, this is the basis to our banking system, and it's a massive fraud. In the old days, sound money was backed by something. And if you had a dollar note, it was worth $1 worth of gold. Now, gold has retained its value, and the famous story that goes round is that 2,000 years ago in ancient Rome, a really nice toga, a real quality toga, would cost about would cost a gold coin, plus or minus. Today, that gold coin still buys you a really nice suit. So that one gold coin, that gram, not the gram, the ounce of gold, let's say, that's worth $1,300 or whatever it is currently worth. 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years in Rome, it still bought you the nice suit. Today, that same ounce of gold buys you a nice suit.
Yeah.
So it retains its value.
Yeah.
But the fictitious money, the unsound money, the inflation that is created to reduce your spending power strips that away. But if it's actually based on something tangible and real like gold, then it doesn't do that. It retains its value. And if you look at the buying power of a dollar today compared to the buying power of a dollar 50 years ago or 100 years ago, you buy so much less. And that's an intentional strategy and outcome by the globalists to run the economy to make sure that we are constantly on the back foot. We just can't keep up. We might get a pay rise, but effectively our purchasing power goes backwards. Yeah, because the dollar is not based on anything tangible. The old expression, "Oh, it's as good as gold." Yeah. That grew out of the decision to stop backing the dollar with gold. This is as good as gold was the old expression. Oh, it's not. No, it's not.
So Alex Jones just came out and said that James O'Keefe, who is a in-depth reporter and has his own media company, called him and gave him the information on what he's about to release on the Epstein case. And in case that James O'Keefe ends up suicided or basically murdered, the information will be released by Alex Jones. Alex Jones also just said that the person that's suppressing the information, the person trying to stop this from coming out in the Trump Justice Department, is Pam Bondi. And he basically said that Pam Bondi has some type of relationship with Epstein, basically saying, in my estimation, that Pam Bondi is a traitor. I never liked Pam Bondi. I don't trust Pam Bondi. After what she did with the original release of the Epstein files and the documents, releasing 10-year-old information that was already out, and then redacting that information, I don't trust her. And we need to get to the bottom of this. And Trump needs to come out and address this himself personally and do it today. This has to be released. These witnesses, these victims, like Virginia Roberts, are being systematically suicided one by one to get rid of all the living evidence. And if Pam Bondi truly cared, she would give them protection, government protection, bring them in and get all the information from them and save their lives instead of letting them get picked off one by one by whomever wants to get rid of the witnesses and the victims. This has to stop. This has to end, and something has to be done. I don't know where Trump is on this, but it scares me when Alex Jones says the Trump White House knows about it and they're covering up for Pam Bondi. What the fuck is going on now?
3,000 cases against violent.
Well, that's not my question. We know that you.
Well, you asked if I was weaponizing the FBI, and I am not. I'm giving you the hard, concrete examples of the men and women putting handcuffs on bad people, doing harm to our children and innocent Americans. I do not see weaponization.
But you have placed on leave FBI employees responsible for the investigation of January 6th. That sounds political to me.
I have not placed anyone on leave who has not violated their ethical obligation or their oath to the Constitution.
So if they were investigating January 6th, you believe they were violating an ethical obligation?
Nope. I think the common theme here is you putting words in my mouth, and I'm not going to tolerate it, nor will the men and women of the FBI.
Yeah. Well, you did place on leave an analyst responsible for investigating Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. Is that politicization? Is that retribution?
No, not if she broke the law or the ethical guidelines. I don't know which case you're talking about, but that's the standard. And we will hold ourselves inwardly accountable. And we will not be strayed from our mission because people think we are politicizing the Bureau. If you want to talk about someone who was attacked by a weaponized Bureau, you're looking at him. And now he's the director of the FBI and he's cleaning it up.
Well, I would just say to everyone who's listening that the FBI needs to be focused on its mission to keep the entire country safe. It should not be weaponized for partisan political gain. Thank you,
We are.
Chairman.
Senator Kennedy.
For Tush James, will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be imprisoned for mortgage fraud?
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Somebody just called to complain that you were cleaning up the...
Aside, because if you get in my way, there's going to be problems. You understand?
I didn't break any laws. I just wanted to help someone who couldn't afford help.
Today, I went to mow the lawn for an 80-year-old widow. She lives alone, on a fixed income, and her front yard had grown wild after weeks of heat and rain. She told me the city had already warned her. Clean it up or get fined. Thing is, she can't afford to pay the $300 the city charges to cut it, so I offered to do it for free. I'd barely gotten halfway through when 2 police cruisers pulled up, lights on, doors swinging open. One officer steps out and says, "You need to shut that mower off now." I was confused, thought maybe they were checking in. But then he told me I was trespassing and under investigation for unauthorized property maintenance. I pointed at the lady standing on her porch, waving frantically. "She asked me to help," I said. "She gave me permission." They ignored her. One of them told me the yard fell under a municipal code that made it restricted property because of pending fines. The woman kept pleading, trying to explain, but they wouldn't listen. One officer handcuffed me right there in front of her. Turns out the local department offers a paid lawn service, and if neighbors or charities step in for free, they interfere with city business. I sat in the back of the cruiser, watching that poor woman cry on her porch. I wasn't charged. They let me go later with a warning. But they told me next time it would be a citation for disruption of municipal process. I'm going back this week to finish the job before they fine her, even if it means getting arrested again. If you want to hear what happens next, just type "stand up" in the comments.
Progress never comes from those satisfied with the failures of a broken system. It comes from those who want to fix the broken system. President Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump on truth. Costs down, no inflation. Very different from what the Fed and fake news media were hoping for. Posted 050925 9:33 a.m. First Lady Melania Trump secures $25 million investment in President's FY26 budget for foster youth. I am proud to have successfully secured $25 million to provide housing for individuals aging out of foster care. This is another essential measure that ensures the safety, welfare, and autonomy of those in the foster community, commented First Lady Melania Trump, the White House. Forwarded from BRICS News. Just in, Indian military source says air operations are currently underway in Pakistan. Forwarded from BRICS News. Just in, video of Pakistan's missile attack on India.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today on 10th May, at the time of Fajr, we have given a strong punch to a coward enemy. Alhamdulillah.
Forwarded from Wolverine. Alert! Breaking. US military and Sharp unveil 120 million quantum phones and quantum voting system. The end of the spy phone era. Video. American Media Group. 1. In a groundbreaking revelation that has sent shockwaves through the tech and political spheres, rumors are rife that a Japanese electronics giant, Sharp, under the supposed guidance of the US military, has embarked on a clandestine project to produce a staggering 120 million quantum phones, popularly known as Q-phones. These devices are rumored to be the cornerstone of a revolutionary quantum voting system, QVS, designed to combat fraud and redefine the way we participate in elections. This article delves deep into the sensational tale of Sharp's alleged quantum leap and the potential implications it holds for our future. Texas snag chat owner, 6:14 p.m. Banker is advised that a couple of the RV currencies scheduled to participate have some remaining issues with the QFS system, and hopefully they will be resolved or the exchange could proceed without their participating. They will receive word before midnight time in Atlanta if we go or we wait a little longer. Forwarded from Mike Bara. Update. Okay, first of all, Kerry is not selling access to medbeds. They will be free whenever they become available. Don't fall for scams. As to the RV, it is very quiet. The broker is scheduled to get his Golden Gun contracts Monday with payout Thursday or Friday. His agreements are private transactions, so they are not tied to the RV specifically. My other bond guy has not been paid but was told this week several Tier 3 whales are still in Europe, expecting liquidity any time now. Bruce's report that redemption centres would be staffed tomorrow is partially true. There will be staff in redemption centres tomorrow, but they are there to train people from the financial industry in preparation for the RV. They do not expect to be doing exchanges tomorrow, but you never know. I'm hearing reports of Indian nations getting payouts, but this is not confirmed yet. I guess we wait on Trump's big announcement, which could come today or Monday. We'll see. Best timing I have now is once again Sunday/Monday. That's all I have. Forwarded from JR, admin for the Chosen Ones Telegram. Alert. Everything I post has meaning. All has to be revealed at the same time for the RV to happen. It's all a part of the public exposure. RV wasn't moving forward until the exposure of the corruption started to happening publicly. You have to be blind to not see it by now. Just look back in the past. There was no movement until we all started to seeing the investigations come out, to see the corruption happening publicly. It's all about distractions and cover for us to RV. We would have been able to RV back years ago. Bigger the exposure, the faster it's sped up. So get ready, we're here.
I'd like to ask Mr. Carroll and anybody else who would like to answer this. Can you name some of these NGOs that have specifically taken these hundreds of millions of dollars and not used it to protect these children?
Catholic Charities, Lutheran Family Services, Jewish Family Services. I spoke to a gentleman that works in DHS. He actually sends the electronic fund transfers, and I asked him, sir, tell me, who do you send, who are you responsible for, and how much is the largest check you cut? He said, I'm a Jewish Family Services, and I cut a check for $600 million. And I said, is that for like 3 years? And he told me, JJ, get in the game. That's 2 or 3 months, and it's renewable.
Let me get this straight. The new Catholic Pope is an open borders globalist. Catholic Charities, NGO, named as the #1 receiver of taxpayer money for mass immigration. And people are cheering this? NGO was being transferred $600 million every 2 to 3 months to bring in illegals into America. Catholic Charities was named first as the receivers of the money. House Homeland Security Committee hearing. I'm on Telegram, join my channel, now Steve Bannon Q. And so this was posted by John Darling on Telegram. And I don't know which newspaper is this. It was just a screenshot. It says exclusive, Pope Leo XIV engulfed in child sex abuse scandal hours after being elected first American pontiff. CNN World. Victims group alleges Pope Leo XIV mishandled sexual abuse cases involving priests in Chicago and Peru. By Bob Ortega and Rob Kuznia, CNN. Published 11:55 a.m. EDT, Friday, May 9th, 2025. This undated photo shows Robert Francis Prevost. Prevost was Bishop of Chiclayo, Peru, from September 26, 2015 to 2023. During his tenure, he was elected second vice president of the Peruvian Episcopal Conference and served as president of its Commission for Culture and Education. Q Post 997, April 3rd, 2018, 8:45 p.m. EDT. Anonymous. 884736, Pope equals Pope, ? 884748, Pope will be having a terrible May. Those who backed him will be pushed into the light. Dark to light. Truth. Q. Look in front of his ear. Is he wearing a mask? It is strange. Well, You know who's in charge? The military. Trump keeps talking about central casting. Forwarded from War Room, official Telegram channel, Steve Bannon. Worst pick ever. New Pope Leo XIV spent years retweeting criticism of Trump. Worst pick ever. Zeta Talk followers watch X, Planet X, aka Nibiru. Posted 12:59 p.m. May 8th, 2025. Now, Pope Leo XIV, the first American Pope in history, emerges. Trump has already congratulated Prevost. I am honored to know that he is the first American Pope. What a thrill, and what a great honor for our country. I look forward to meeting Pope Leo XIV, Trump wrote. A new leader for Catholics around the world will need consoling when they find out what the Vatican has concealed from them. Zeta Talk prediction, 8/23/2014. We have predicted that the Catholic Church will not survive the pole shift due to the cover-up they perpetrated for decades over a third Fatima secret. The realization that the Vatican knew and did not warn the flock will be the final straw, coming on the heels of pedophilia scandal. Pope Francis knows this. If one takes note, his words run contrary to Vatican law on many issues. He expects to be assassinated. Use discernment. It's just for entertainment purposes only. City of Seven Hills in Revelation 19 verse 9 is Rome, November 17, 2017. According to Revelation 17 verse 9, the whore of Babylon sits on 7 mountains. For those who have theorized that Babylon is referring to the city of Babylon, which today is in Iraq near the town of Hela, it is not located on 7 hills. This is one fact among many that rules out the original location of Babylon. The 7 hills of Rome are Aventine Hill, Caelian Hill, Capitoline Hill, Esquiline Hill, Palatine Hill, Quirinal Hill, and Viminal Hill. Prophecy of the Popes. The prophecy concludes with a Pope identified as Peter the Roman, whose pontificate will allegedly precede the destruction of the city of Rome. Benedict XVI, 2005-13, would correspond to the second to last of the papal descriptions. The longest and final verse predicts the apocalypse. In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will sit Peter the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in many tribulations, and when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people. The end. Okay. I had been trying to find the third secret of Our Lady of Fatima. There's been quite a lot of controversy regarding that. So I found this PDF. I was just searching on Google. Where is it? Now, we don't know the third secret, but we do know the third beast of Revelation. And in the light of the above discussion, since we have seen that the first 2 beasts indicate the first 2 secrets, it is logical to say that the third beast indicates the third secret. So an understanding of the third beast can lead us to understand the third secret, especially because the Virgin Mary says that the secret is now unfolding right before the eyes of the people. The third beast of Revelation is the Lamb that speaks like the dragon. Revelation 13, verse 11-18. According to Mother Mary, the Lamb is a symbol of the priesthood. But, surprise, this Lamb, which should have spoken like Christ, speaks like the dragon. In other words, the Apostle John, the author of the book of Revelation, foretells us that there will come a time when the priests and bishops, thought outwardly appearing to be ministers of Christ, would in fact become instruments of the dragon, Lucifer. They would seek to deceive even the elect. Matthew 24, chapter 24, verse 24, and fraudulently make the people worship Lucifer. Even while making them believe that they were worshipping God. Now the third beast points to the third secret, hence we say that the third secret indicates the satanic corruption of the clergy. It means that Satan will enter the Roman Catholic Church, that he will enslave its priests and bishops and use them to try and destroy the Roman Catholic Church from within. With Satan's help, the priests and bishop will fool the Roman Catholic Italy into following the devil, while all the time they, the laity, are made to believe that they are following Jesus. This is the third secret. Interesting. Whenever your life is feeling stagnant or as if nothing is happening, that means you're being given the time and space to heal and release the baggage that you can't carry to where you're meant to go soon. Healing may not be so much about getting better as about letting go of everything that isn't you.